Bat Boys for life.
Yeah, Bad Boys. You ain't seen Bat Boys too?
You don't even know Bat Boys.
No, I've never seen Bat Boys. What up, Bat Boy?
Hey, I'm not a bad boy.
I'm a bad boy.
Rhysand, Azrael, and Cassian are the Bat Boys.
That's...
If you know, you know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Jay will know
I
because
don't
I'm going
know,
to force
that's
him
why.
to read the audiobooks.
Yes.
But hey, welcome. I'm Ashley.
Talking about audiobooks. We're going to talk about audiobooks on this episode.
Is that your name?
That's my name.
We're going to talk about audiobooks on this episode.
Yeah. No, I'm Jay.
This is Jay.
If you listen to the last episodes, you'll know that I'm Jay.
Yes. So today is a pretty fun one, a little bit of a mixed bag. Definitely caters to Jay's interest and to my interest. So first up, we're going to have an interview with Zonta.
Zonta. We're going to have
You say his last name.
I'll actually introduce him probably. Yeah. I'll introduce, I guess, my half of the episode, which we had a fantastic interview with one of my gamer friends, Zonta Van Den Goorbergh.
Gamer friend?
Yeah, but my gamer friend, he
is a cool
fantastic,
gamer friend.
fantastic guy. We're so grateful that he jumped on to have a chat. He's a Moto2 World Championship rider.
So cool.
Very talented young guy, and yeah, we kind of picked his brains apart on how his job works.
Yeah, because we interviewed him right before his home race at Assen, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So as we're filming this, it is currently the weekend of his home race.
Yeah. We would have liked to have this episode out earlier, but life's just been way too busy.
It has been so hectic lately. It's
Yeah.
crazy. I think that's my good and my bad.
Yeah, but I've been looking forward to releasing this episode because I think there's a lot of people and we have some fantastic listeners, some friends, some family, and some other folks out there on the interwebs.
All the feedback we've been getting so far has been so nice.
So thank you all so much.
Please let us know if you have any comments, queries, concerns.
Or a topic you want to hear.
Or a topic.
That's the whole point of the story is we're just releasing the stories of cool things.
If you think there's a really cool thing that we should know about and do a pod about, let us know. Because that is so fun.
Also, we're going to talk about... we're going to show the interview with Zonta Van Den Goorbergh.
Yeah.
And
And then we had a really cool bookish kind of thing happen. We went to a Rebecca Yarros kind of panel Q&A kind of talk thing, which is really cool. And we'll get onto that after the Zonta kind of... interview.
Which it's more of we tried to set it out.
Yeah,
we tried to set it out as like a professional interview, or it's how I wanted it, but also it's us. We just wanted to kind of chill as well, which he was super on board for chilling. So do we just cut straight into that?
I reckon we should.
All right, let's travel.
We'll see you after.
What?
Let's do it. All right. Well, dude, thank you again for jumping on and having a little chat.
No worries.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your background and growing up with bikes and racing and things like that?
Well, I started riding bikes at a young age because of my dad, who was a former MotoGP rider. So basically, as soon as I grew up, I was surrounded by bikes. When I was around 2.5 years old, I was for the first time on a motorbike. It was a small electric trials bike. So that's the first time I was allowed to ride a bike. And then from there, it just obviously it kept going. I did trials for a few years, and I did some motocross. And then when I was around 11 years old, I think, I went to a summer camp in Assen. It was a 3-day event on the small track, on the karting track. And that's when I, for the first time, tried the was an NSF 100. So the first time a road bike. And from there, basically, I continued on road racing because I couldn't decide which one I liked more. At such a young age, you don't realize the consequence of the decisions. You're like, I don't care.
Yeah,
just choose.
You don't have fear at a young age.
Exactly.
Yeah, I just said to my parents, you decide. For me, I like both. Obviously, thinking back now, it was obvious that they were going to choose road racing. It's a stupid question for me to ask them, but okay. And then I'll say, well, they decided road racing. and then from there I continued racing. The first season that I did road racing was NSF 100 Championship, and they had 7 races, I think. So 7 time a 1 day event. Um, so we combined that still with the motocross, like a Dutch championship, Open Dutch Championship. So there were some more nationalities, and that season started more early. So I was still doing that, and I was leading that championship. But before the season, and also well in like the contract that you sign to ride that NSF1 championship, we agreed that if rounds would collide, I would choose the racing. So then I did, but I was leading the Dutch championship in motocross, and then I had to stop because the race season was starting, and then they said, we cannot do motocross anymore. So yeah, that's basically like my story, how I started.
And how you got into road racing, dude? That's really cool. Yeah, yeah. Who would have
Yeah,
figured it started with a tiny little electric bike, and now you're on
yeah.
what are they? So 670 cc or something?
765.
765, other way around. There you go, dude. Wow.
And
That's
it's
crazy.
quite a funny story also, like how I got my first bike, because I don't know the name in English, but the thing that the kid has in the mouth,
Like the dummy, the
like the
pacifier.
baby. I don't know, yeah, like the baby
Yeah.
has a, yeah, yeah. So I had to give that away for the bike. Like as a kid, you love this,
Yeah.
and but I had no choice. Like they said, oh, or you keep this, or you get the bike. And I was crying, like I wanted both. But then I eventually gave in, and I gave that, and then I got my bike. But
Jumped on the bike.
I love that.
That's
That's
a good trade. Surely you don't regret that trade now.
nah, now no. But I think at the time I was upset. I was crying, like
Of
fuck.
course.
Yeah. Definitely, definitely. No, for sure. Does it? So we're heading into what the TT Assen circuit, which is your home circuit, and does that feel any different to other races, or?
Well, obviously people think that you have a home advantage. But I haven't rode there since the last GP.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Um, so, if anything, I have a disadvantage because people expect more, and with expectations, all you can do is disappoint. Because if there's no expectation, you cannot disappoint. If there's expectation, you can disappoint.
Yeah.
Um, and also people think like it's your home GP, so you ride there a lot, or you have ridden there a lot in the past. But I haven't ridden there since the last GP. So actually, the guys racing again, 80% has done more track time there than me because I've only done 2 GPs there, and they have
Yeah.
done maybe already 10 GPs, so they've got a lot more track experience than me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Obviously, a bit different with the media and stuff that comes. Quite a lot more attention, more fans, more friends coming.
Mm.
But you try to approach it as much as a normal weekend. If you start to think and treat it as a different weekend, that's not how it should be. Every weekend you try your best, and it's not like it's the home GP that you try something extra. No, it's impossible. Like every race, you're on the limit. So it's yeah, you should
Indeed.
treat it like every other weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely,
cool.
definitely. Yeah, I suppose what's been for you? What's been like a standout or like the best moment of your, whether it's your whole like moto racing career or just even Moto2s? It's open question. What's been your best moment so far
Um, well,
for
I
you?
would think I have 2 moments. One is in Moto2 was last year.
Mhm.
The India and Japan races, they were back to back, and I got sixth and ninth. They were nice. And then
So
actually
cool.
Indonesia following up also. Indonesia was actually my best weekend, but unfortunately I had a mechanical in the race. Otherwise, I think I could have really challenged there for maybe even a top 5. That was probably my best weekend. But anyway, results wise, in the race, India and Japan, the back to back weekends, they were amazing to say the least, with P6 and P9. Um, and another moment that always stands out when I think about my racing career was in 2020 when I was riding in the European Talent Cup, and I won. Well, I topped every session, and I won all 3 races in the European Talent Cup in Aragon. That's always still something. If I see pictures of it, it's still an amazing memory because I was riding against super fast guys like I was fighting against Alonso. In the end, I finished second in the championship, and he won the championship. David Alonso, and if you see now how fast he is in Moto3,
That's crazy.
it's not like you were riding against bad guys. So yeah, that's always a yeah. That's probably even my best memory that I have.
I suppose that brings up another question that I've always wondered. Like, so you've taken sort of a different path, not going straight from Talent Cup or the general path of going Talent Cup to
Yeah.
Moto3. So you've gone from Talent Cup straight up to Moto2. Was there something there that pulled you towards that? Was it the local team, or was it something
Well,
personal decision? Was it?
well, mostly personal. Like, well, you've seen me. I'm quite tall, and even with still my young age now, I'm still the youngest Moto2 rider. Many people forget that about. I'm still the youngest in the class, but I'm one of the tallest. And in Moto3, that can be quite a disadvantage. Like, okay, there's some guys in Moto3 that are tall, but they are like really skinny. But I'm not super skinny. Okay, I'm not the biggest guy. But in Moto3 could have been a little disadvantage. I was actually meant to go to Moto3 with the Sepang racing team that existed at that time, but then out of nowhere, Petronas pulled. Well, out of nowhere, stuff happened, and then Petronas pulled out, and then we had no seat. And then this opportunity came to go to RW in Moto2, and it's you cannot say no. Like, I remember at the time, I was 15. I was sitting at the dinner table in our old house with my mother, my father, and my uncle, who's also a former GP rider. And yeah, they were like, "Yeah, do you want to do it?" And I wasn't sure. Like, I didn't think it would be the best thing to do. Obviously, in the end, I don't regret it at all. I'm really happy with where I am now. But also me at the start, I was a bit shocked. Like, oh, it's not the usual thing to do, and it can be quite a big step. But I think in the end, we made it work. Definitely, it was well. This step was made easier for it to be a Dutch team, but there is no. The only thing Dutch in the team is the team manager. Like, the team manager and my father, they knew each other already. So to make the first contact, it was easy. But like, there's no mechanics or nothing that is Dutch. That's something that the people mistake in quite a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you have a question? You want to?
Well,
I feel like you haven't talked much, so I'm just like,
No, I've just been listening. I'm fascinated by all this kind of stuff. So, my thing was like, what's your favorite part about being a world champ, like a Moto2 rider? Is there something that's specific that every time you kind of do it, you go, I get to do this. That's cool. Like,
Well, there is good things and bad things, but also some things are good and bad. For example, one of the things that immediately shoots to mind is that you get to see amazing places. Like, I've been to Australia. Like, why would I go to Australia normally? It wouldn't happen. Maybe I would go one time in my life, but not every year. But then the bad thing is the traveling. So it's like, the nice part is traveling, but also the bad part is the traveling. Like, you spend sometimes like 30 hours, 35 hours non-stop traveling from hotel to hotel, from hotel to hotel, and can be exhausting. But then again, you get to see amazing things that normal boys of my age, they don't get to see.
yeah.
Obviously, it's well, especially now, it's my third year in this team, and some members have changed, but it's mostly stayed the same, and it's like a second family. Like, literally, it's every time you see them, you have a laugh, and it's super nice to be with them. So it's you create special bonds inside the paddock with your team or other members who are working somewhere else, whatever, other riders. Um, so that's also one of the nice things. And obviously, riding the bike, it's something special. You get to ride machinery that I think many people in the world would love to try one day, and you get to do it for a living. It's you You get to do what you love most and make a living out of it. Well, hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
so cool.
It's got to be a strong bond you guys share, like traveling the world together,
Yeah.
and all there
Yeah.
for the same purpose, and just
Yeah,
so
it
many
has to be
different
because,
spots. Yeah,
like, if you don't like the people in your team or the people that you're traveling with, whatever, it's not gonna work. Like you spend so much time together with each other. I see them more than my own family. Like I
Yeah,
see my
definitely.
mechanics, I see them more than my own father or my own mother or sister or whatever. So yeah, if you don't like each other, then you have a problem.
Yeah,
you'll know about it
definitely.
quick. That's for sure. Yeah, definitely. This one is actually from one of our viewers and a good friend of mine, which you would have met when you came to Australia and we caught up, which was very nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's asked. It might be a hard question. So yeah, his question was, what is most important to you as a rider to best be able to focus on improvement over the season? Is it like you have to get in the right headspace to like, let's say you're down the track or whatever? Is it clearing all the distractions, getting rid of social media and even just media in general? Is it focusing on your physical fitness, going for your bike rides, things like that? What's most important to you to improve?
Both are super important, physically and mentally. But arguably, mentally, it's even more important than physically. Like, especially in Moto2, it's the class that is the closest with lap times. Um, Also, that shows the level of the class. But if you are P15, you can be on 310s. And those 310s, it's almost nothing. Like, an extra hour on the bicycle is not going to change those 310s. But you yourself, you can change those 310s. You know what I mean? Also, physically, it's really important to be fit, and I would argue that Moto2 is one of the most physical classes. Like if you see, for example, the amount of arm pump surgeries that have happened just alone this year in Moto2, I don't know the exact count, but I think more than 10 riders out of the 30 have done arm pump surgery this year, and for some it's the second time or whatever. But like more than 10 different ones have done it already this season. And in MotoGP, it's only Raul Fernandez, and in Moto3, it's no one. Um, but it just shows how physically Moto2 is now, and arguably even more now with the Pirellis. It seems like that with a little bit more grit that we have, we can push it a little bit more. And with the way that you need to ride the Moto2, it's quite a strange way. And obviously, well, the chassis is really stiff and whatever. It seems like there's a lot of physical strength on the body. But like I said, also mentally, it's important. The start of this year, I wasn't feeling so well, and you can see it in the results. Like I started well in Qatar, and Portimao and America were difficult, and then afterwards it went better and better again. So it's definitely a mix of both. But also obviously on the track, like you need to keep improving the setup to make steps. We're definitely still looking like well, it's clear also to the outside world that we've still not got it dialed in. Like if you look many times at the start of the weekend in the first practice, I'm outside of the top 20. Just because we start with kind of a wrong base. Just because we're still searching for that one thing that is working. And maybe there's teams that have found something. Maybe there's teams like us that are maybe still looking for something, or riders. But that's all new things, especially now with the new tires that came in.
Yeah, indeed. And even looking when you mentioned your results before, it just reminded me, like, even looking at your results from your first season and then looking through, it's just ever gotten closer and closer to the front. It's really cool to see
Yeah,
that progression. You're doing
yeah, definitely,
fantastic. You got to be proud of that.
definitely.
That's for sure.
Like the goal to get closer and closer, and so far it's working. Like last season, I got 2 time in the points, and okay, it should have been a little bit more with the mechanical in Indonesia and the mechanical in Thailand when I was going when I should have had points 2 more times. But even without that, like I only had points 2 times, and this year I've already had 5 times, I think, 4 times, 5 times, out of 7 races. So yeah, it just shows
Yeah.
that we are getting much closer.
Yeah, you and the team got to be very proud of that. And talking about improvement, so I guess we kind of met through like video games, GP bikes, and
Yeah.
that. Now this is more of a question to keep my hopes up of being a Moto2 rider. But in your opinion, do video games like GP bikes or MotoGP or whatever, do they offer any benefit to your riding, whether it's learning new tracks or whatnot, or new lines?
I don't know if you noticed, but lately I've not been playing a lot of those. It's been going quite well, the last few races. So I don't think it changes much. Like maybe if I start to do it now, maybe I get a lot better. That'd be nice. Maybe it's the win, but I don't know.
Keep his dreams alive.
Yeah, try.
Still hope.
Well, I think there's sometimes it can be nice. For example, if we go to Kazakhstan, to learn a completely new track, but not really like breaking markers or something like that, just to learn the layout and maybe some lines. I wouldn't say MotoGP because, well, just the physics are a little bit too arcadey. GP bikes comes a bit closer, but also there, it can be a bit,
buggy,
bit iffy at times. But well, I guess it can be nice sometimes. I remember in when was it? Must have been for my first season, very first season in Moto2, and then I played GP bikes on Argentina before the race weekend, and that race weekend was amazing. I got into Q2 in my second race weekend in Moto2, and I crashed in the race. Otherwise, I would have gotten points. So then from there, I need to play every time for the week now. Like it works, no? So yeah, I guess sometimes it can work, but in generally no. Like you already know so much about most tracks, and that's the thing. That's the difference between riders at our level, Moto2, MotoGP, and even riders already in other high level championships. Let's say even Junior GP or something. Like we are fast from lap one. Like in sometimes you see that in lap 2 or 3 they already put a lap time that at the end of the session it's still competitive. And even in high level junior classes you don't see this. Yeah, it's just something that you have to do as a world championship rider. Like you have no choice, but it's definitely one of the things that you really need to adapt to. I remember a good friend of mine, he did a wild card in Supersport 600 in Assen, and he asked me before the weekend, like, how do you go so fast from lap one? How do you do it? I need to know because I want to do it this weekend, but I don't know how you do it. Like, what do you prepare or whatever, So yeah, it's maybe it can help, but it's more fun than actually useful.
Yeah. That's okay.
Maybe I shouldn't say this because you might listen to this, and next time I want to play, and you say, it's useless. Oh, it's not.
You watch all the UK lads. They're gonna love that. Okay. And so was it your uncle or your father that rode in like MotoGP back in the day?
My father rode in MotoGP, and I'm not actually sure. I know my uncle rode GPs for sure, 250 for sure. I wouldn't put my money on if he rode 500. I think, but I don't know. I'm really not sure. Maybe I don't think a full season, but maybe like a race or something. But 250, yes. And my father rode 500 for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, I was just thinking like if you had one motorbike, whether it's a race bike or anything, out of any year, any size, whatever, even if you don't have the ability to ride it now, like what bike would it be? Yeah.
Well, probably like we just said, the 500. I would love to try it one day. Like of all the bikes, I can say I don't know, like a Ducati 1000 or something, but it's all quite similar to what we ride now. Like I have an R1, and it's all similar to each other. So I think all the bikes would be 500 because they are more or less impossible to ride nowadays. And sometimes you see like a demo run, but nobody pushes it anymore. Like Nowadays you see nobody go to a track day or something on a 500 and rip its balls off. No,
Exactly.
never. So I would love to try one of them nowadays, and maybe also to see, like, because obviously the styles in the past were a lot different, with the way they were, well, pushing the bike, and we are leaning off the bike. It's completely different. And like, if I speak to my father about that, he says, "Well, it's just the probably a lot to do with the tires, something with the suspension." But I would love to try, like, if a rider like me or anybody else nowadays would try 500 with the way it was set up back then, if we would ride it the way that they did, or if we would ride it the way that we are riding bikes nowadays with the elbow out and whatever, I think it would be interesting to see, why they rode that way back then and why we ride this way now.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I have a question. Do you have a road license? Like, do you have a bike that you ride just outside of?
No. I don't. No,
No,
I have
you
a
don't?
I have a car license,
Yeah.
and a moped license, but that's all. I eventually do want to get my bike license, but in the Netherlands is a bit of a hassle. Like, you have three different ones, and the first one you can get at 18, and you can only ride up to 300 cc, I think.
Yeah.
Then the next one you have to wait until, I don't know, 21, and you can ride it to 600. And I think at 24 you can get the one that you can ride any bike that you want. So I want to wait until I'm that age that
Yeah,
I can
fair
immediately
enough.
get the full one. Not really to buy a bike myself. Like, I don't want to ride on the road. I have no purpose in that. Like, it will just be boring. Also, like, if it's raining, I just want to be comfortable in my car.
Yeah.
But it's more like, if you ever need to help someone out, or like transport something, or maybe some, I don't know, for a company that they want you to shoot some things on the road, it can always be nice to have it. So it's
Exactly.
more
Yeah.
just to have it in case than to actually ride a bike myself on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure riding, 40, I don't know if you guys have miles per hour or Ks, I don't know, but 40 Ks down the road, and then it's like,
Yep.
you can go 250 down the Assen
Exactly.
Straight or
It's
whatever.
boring. I
Yeah.
just want to be in the car, put the music on, and enjoy.
Exactly.
I don't need to be on the bicycle.
That's it.
Exactly. So yeah, obviously we talked a little bit about you're at your home Grand Prix, and I just wanted to kind of set the stage for this question. This one is a very experimental question in my books, but right. So you've done the warm up lap. You're pulling up to your grid position, which is going to be on the front row. We know. No, I don't want to put that pressure on you. That's all your job. But the helmet goes on. You're staring at turn one. You're set off for the lap. What's going through Zonta's mind? Give us a
Well,
little
first of all,
rundown.
like, nowadays, because we don't have a warm up anymore, we always do 2 laps to arrive to the grid. Do 1 lap, pass through pit lane, and then arrive to the grid. And like, in the past, they used to be warm up laps. Like, you would push, but not really. Like, it would just be like a normal pace lap. But nowadays, you arrive to the grid sweating like hell. You push like hell in those first 2 laps, because it's the only 2 laps that you have to get some sort of feeling, and you immediately need to be like turned on to the maximum, because the moment you start, because the lap from the to the grid, it's slow. Like, everybody's waiting and looking, and so in that lap you can do nothing. So in those 2 laps to the grid is the only 2 laps that you have before the start of the race, and you need to be completely turned on. You need to be ready to the maximum to fight like hell. Especially the first lap always is chaos. So in the past it used to be, well, a normal lap. Nowadays, like, you arrive to the grid and you're already tired.
Oh,
Like,
goodness.
those 2 laps, they are killing. Also, that's quite surprising. Like, that nobody's like crashed yet in those 2 laps. And if somebody will crash, people will take the piss out of the rider that's crashed. But it's really not strange if it'll happen, because we are pushing like it's qualifying. Like we try, we really try. So if somebody ever crashes on that lap, like, for sure you will see a lot of comments about it. But I wouldn't doubt that it will happen sometime in the season.
Yeah.
Anyway, then you pull up to the grid. Many time I take my helmet off, my gloves off, open the suit, put the chest protector away just to get some air flowing, you know. Then meantime I have my crew chief holding my umbrella up. I don't have a grid girl, unfortunately. It's
Oh,
just not. Yeah.
is there applications there? I'll put my
Jay will be a
actual-
grid girl in Australia.
In Australia, it'll probably be raining, so I'll just have to like protect me from the rain. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jay's got long arms. He
Yeah.
can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then well, you just like try to get in the zone. You know, like I don't listen to any music or something on the grid. I just have my earplugs in from the like the earplugs from the riding, and I don't take them out. That's I still hear surrounding sounds, but it all quiets it down a little bit. In the European races, I always have a grid interview with Ziggo, the Dutch broadcaster of the Netherlands. Um, so they always do a quick interview, like one question and it's finished, you know, so 1 minute and that's all. And from there, you have 7 minutes, 8 minutes until it's go time, you know. So you just try to focus. Don't think about things too much. Try to relax. But I like to be um, quite angry, quite not not mm, not
Like
tense.
aggressive?
Tense is not the right word, but yeah, like aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, well, before I go on the bike, many people look at me really strange if I do it. But before on the bike, always I scream, not like but like
Yeah.
aggressive,
Yeah.
like fuck, I'm gonna do this, and I smash the floor, give my mechanics a fist bump, and I go on the track. Um, People that don't know this, like from other boxes or guests or something, like they always get shocked, you know, because out of nowhere somebody is just like screaming. So they also my mechanics know it nowadays, you know, so they don't think it's like they don't get shocked by it anymore. So yeah, you just try to get focused. Then with about 3 minutes to go, 4 minutes to go, you put back the helmet, put back the gloves. Um, I never wait until the last moment to do that. You know, imagine something is wrong or whatever. Prefer
Yeah.
to
It
have
would
it on
stress
two
me
minutes
out.
early than don't stress. You know. And then it's starting a bike, and always that's still a thing. Like fuck, these Moto2 bikes, they're shit to start,
Oof.
and they are almost impossible to get into neutral. Well, when you want them to go neutral. On the
Yeah.
track, they go on neutral every corner. But for example, in the box, you cannot get it on neutral. Um, so they start the bike. You're already happy when you hear your bike running because imagine it doesn't start. Then many times the mechanic put the stand back on, like the mechanic of the rear wheel put the stand back on, and then the main mechanic, the one of the front wheel, he tries to put my bike in neutral. Sometimes it works, also sometimes it doesn't. So then you are just waiting on the grid from like the lap from grid to grid with the clutch in the hand. That's not nice, you know, because it's not good for the clutch, and also imagine you stole the bike. But yeah, it is what it is. And then, like I said, on that lap from the grid to the grid, it's yeah, people are just looking everywhere, and that lap is just more or less bullshit. You try to keep the tires clean, like especially at the end of the lap, like you don't want to take a strange line because if you go completely out of the track, like for example Mugello, if in the last corner you go completely out on the paint, yeah, when you arrive to turn two, the first lap, your left side will not be correct, you know. Also, if it's cold, then it's more important the lap. Like you need to try to keep the tires in a good window. When it's hot, it's less important. But when it's hot, it's more important for the bike temperature. So you don't want to arrive first to the grid because the bike temperature will skyrocket. Also on the lap to the grid, you want to keep the temperature as low as possible. Like you're not gonna go maximum revs everywhere and get the temperature up because it changes a lot. Like already 10 degree on the engine, for example, 70 degree or 80 degree, you feel a complete difference in power. Especially when starting the bike. When actually on the track, it's not so much difference, but when you are making a practice start and the bike is 70 or you have been waiting a while and the bike is 80, it's a completely different way of starting the bike. So yeah, that's the main thing that you are thinking about. And then obviously you're pulling up to the grid. um, I don't know why, but I count in English. I count the grid slots in English. Like for example, if I'm a P12 on the grid, because obviously the rows are not like all behind each other. You know, like it's there is always a row in the middle that's a little bit off center.
Yeah.
So if you're 12, it'd be 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. So when you pull up and you see 42, you know that you're in the correct row. And then you see 42, 36, 30, 24, 18, 12. And then you stop at 12. I don't know why I count that in English, but I do.
Just something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cannot tell why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just before you're about to release the clutch to set off for the race, what's going through your mind and through the race? What?
Not much thinking at
Not
that
much?
point.
It's just
Like,
get the job done.
You put the launch control on, and you're revving. Like the guy is there with the flag. The guy walks away. You engage first gear. At that point, you already put the launch control on because you put that on as soon as you arrive to the grid. Actually, also one time I forgot that. I forgot to put the launch control. Yeah, it was. I think last year. And actually, my start wasn't bad. I had still a really good start, so I was lucky. But yeah, you put the launch control. The guy walks away with the flag. You put first gear. You start to rev, like just not constant rev, but like open the gas, like and then as soon as the red lights come on, you put full gas, and then as soon as they go off, you try to react as quick as possible. That's basically all you think about as soon as you arrive to the grid. Like I have to react as soon as possible. Nowadays, actually, even with Pirelli, sometimes on the when you arrive to the grid, you try to look some tires, but it's hard to see. You know, like many times you can only see of the guy left in front of you. Like all the others, you cannot really see because you have the sticker of the color, and then you can see the compound. For example, I remember in Barcelona, I looked at the guy left of me to see which tire he had, but I couldn't see it because it was just behind the swing arm.
Is that just to make sure you've picked the right, or just see what everyone else has? So.
Yeah, like it can be nice. For example, if you do end up with that guy, you know which tire he has, and then you can like if he has the softer one and he's with you, then you can maybe think, at the end of the race, I will have him because the soft tire will run out, or something like that.
Yeah, use it to your advantage. That's very
Exactly.
good, man. Well,
Yeah, that's cool.
Well, thank you so much for jumping on, man. It's been fantastic, and yeah, we hope you have a great time back home, and hopefully you get a chance to rest before the race. And yeah, we wish you luck, man, and for the rest of the season.
We'll be watching.
Yeah, we'll be watching.
Will you be in Phillip Island?
We won't be. So
maybe
we actually moved up to Queensland. So
yeah.
I'll be in Italy when you're in Italy, but I'll be on the other side. I'll be in Rome. So
You told me that.
yeah.
Yeah.
But,
So we'll see how the funds are for Phillip Island because it's just before Jay's birthday as well. So.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you get a birthday gift from the girlfriend.
Maybe.
Fingers crossed.
Oh.
Birthday
We'll see.
gift is being your grid girl.
yeah. How's that? All right, man. Too easy. Well,
good.
thank you so much, dude. Have a
course.
great time, man.
No problem.
It's that was.
I wish you a good night.
Yeah,
Thank
well.
you.
yeah. We wish you a good day.
Dinner
I guess.
dinner and sleep. Have a good lunch.
Yeah. Have a good dinner.
Yeah. No, awesome, man. Thank you so much, and yeah, best of luck for the race.
Bye,
Man.
mate. Cheers. Bye.
Awesome. Catch you, buddy. Bye.
Okay, welcome back.
Yo.
Hope you just listened to the whole Zonta interview because there was some gold in there.
There was certainly some
Like-
awesome part. But did you have a favorite part? I know that we're we're currently recording this a week after we filmed the interview with him. But do you have a favorite part?
Well, I think my favorite part was when you kept looking at me being like, do you want to ask the next question? Do you want to talk about something? But I was just so intrigued by all of his answers. I was happy to just sit there and listen.
Yeah.
And just like, I was just sitting there going, no, that's so cool. Damn, whoa, I would never would have thought about that. But yeah, I think just the way he mentally goes about the racing is just such a cool thing.
Yeah, I think the whole thing as a experience was really cool. Like, because the few times that we play games, we just talk about games. So
and that apparently I don't exist, which I think he can finally put to bed. I do exist.
Yes.
But yes.
They didn't think I had a real girlfriend
No.
online. Those guys, that group of friends. But anyway,
But yes.
I liked the part where he explained that all the Moto2 riders start at like 100%, 110% effort as soon as they get out the gate because all the bikes are the same, well, very, very similar.
Yeah.
And they're all like trying to compete for that number one spot, and it's all within a margin of a tenth of a whatever. Like, yeah, that was really cool to hear that they just come out swinging straight away. And he's like, yep, you've got to be at your fastest as soon as you step on the bike.
Yeah, and it's
which
like,
that's what makes the greatest rider.
And like that's why the first lap is so hectic in
Yeah.
every race, because everyone is just going so full out in the very first
Literally.
race, like in the very first lap.
And he was simply just like, because you've got no choice. That was
Yeah,
so
you
cool,
have
which you
to.
guys would have just heard.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
My other favorite part is that I didn't realize he was still the youngest Moto2 rider, even
Yeah.
though he's been in it for 2 years. 2 years he's been in it?
Yeah. And one thing we didn't, he's been, this is his third year. Currently.
Yeah. And he's still the youngest,
And
which is crazy.
You know what's really cool? So he's turned 18 this year, but there was a rule that was put in this year that if you weren't 18, you couldn't join. So he joined when he was like 16.
Wow. Yeah.
And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty certain they came up with a rule just this year that was like, all right, anyone under 18 can't join Moto2, but he was 17 when they brought the rule in. How weird is that?
Because he was already in it. It was just like from any new participant. That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
yeah. So he's like an anomaly.
Very talented young lad. And yeah, thank you so much for Zonta for jumping on.
Yeah. Can't wait to hopefully finally meet you in person this
Yeah,
year.
that'd be cool.
So hopefully we can go down to MotoGP. It'll be quite a squeeze because we've got a lot of things going on in the second half of this year. But
He didn't have a fun time there the first time he came and we met him.
no, when you guys met him,
Yeah.
he crashed.
He crashed on like his first lap out, broke his wrist, and so we got to quickly catch up for a minute before I think he flew back.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I didn't realize that either. Like, if you kind of crash out and injure yourself and you can't do the rest of the weekend, they'll just change your flight.
Yeah, they just
It's not like you get to hang around the park, like
Yeah.
the circuit or anything for the next 2 days. They're like, nope, go home, rest.
Yeah, go home,
like
recover,
fly out
quickly.
straight away. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's so
I didn't
nuts.
think it was that. Like, I thought you'd be able to hang out for the rest of the weekend.
So much and I think that was really cool to hear him say, like, because everyone's like, oh, I want a job where I can travel.
Yeah.
Even myself, I've now got a job where I can travel, but for someone that does it every weekend or every few weekends,
Crazy.
he's just like, I'm sick of the travel.
What, like 9 months out of the year?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and like I loved hearing about his found family as well. With
That's really cool.
with like, you know, you travel with these people 9 months out of the year. So
Yeah.
you've got to like them.
Yeah.
You see them more than your own family.
Yeah. It's
So
very cool.
Yeah. But yeah, so you would have just heard all that. But I think it's very interesting. And I would love to have a conversation with anyone else. Like maybe one day get Jack Miller on the podcast.
Ooh,
Wouldn't that be cool?
that would be cool. Fingers
Dream
crossed.
big, dream big.
Jack, we're rooting for
Dream
you
big.
because
Yes.
you nearly got a seat, I guess, hopefully.
Oh, we're fingers crossed. Our Aussie. Yeah, so definitely big, like kind of MotoGP heavy start to the episode, but we are going to hard right turn. Like we are going to hook turn.
Yes. For the rest of the episode.
For the rest of the episode.
We're going to cater to the nerds.
And hey, I'm
You guys
not a
are-
nerd.
Well,
I'm a book fan. I'm a book nerd. So the rest of this episode is going to be very bookish. So I just wanted to do my humble brag of I've now got a signed Fourth Wing book.
Yeah. I've got one too. No, I forfeited mine to a friend of Ashley's, but
If you're watching the video, you can see my signed book right
boom.
there.
Fourth Wing, that's going to be the
my
thumbnail.
So we went to Brisbane after work one day this week, and we went to, it's like a kind of like a talk with a Q&A at the end of Rebecca Yarros, who is the author of the Empyrean series, which is Fourth Wing and Iron Flame and the upcoming Onyx Storm. And it was so good.
It was great.
Like, being able to listen to what goes through her brain when she's writing things and everything like that, absolutely amazing. Because I've read some of her other books, not just her fantasy novels. I've read some of her contemporary novels, and they are so good. I read like The Things We Leave Unfinished, and that broke me.
Yes.
Like, I remember it was just...
What's this? What's that book about?
So it's... Oh, hang on.
I'm
just going to have to get the blurb up for you because it's going to be so much easier.
I have no idea about her books, but it was a fantastic chat. And you can see, I was mentioning this to a friend of mine today. I was saying you can see that she's just getting along that getting used to the, I guess, celebrity life. And she was kind of awkward coming out, and it's like, oh, hey guys, like, what's up?
Yeah, I think she's like in disbelief that because Fourth Wing did pop off so quickly.
Yeah,
it was like
astronomically quick,
absolutely crazy. So, the fact that it popped off so quickly, I feel like she still hasn't caught up to.
Yeah,
it wasn't like a slow build of getting excited. It was like all of a sudden she was, instead of just being in her house, hoping that a book's going to sell, she's doing these tours of conversations and stuff. So the synopsis kind of for the things we leave unfinished is there's 2 sworn enemies, 1 unfinished manuscript, and the love story of a lifetime is what it's called, is the kind of the tagline. So it kind of has 2 alternative timelines.
Right.
That it kind of flips back between, which is like a daughter and her grandma, and then her grandmother, where like she realizes her grandmother didn't finish her last romance book, and she's a novelist, and so she's determined to share her story, but it needs to be written. So it's kind of like
a book about someone who writes books.
So it's a book about, so like her grandmother wrote novels.
Yep.
And so she sees that she didn't get to finish her last novel, and she wants to finish it.
Okay.
And like do it justice.
Yes. Yeah. That makes sense. That's really cool.
But yes, so
that one's really good.
Amazing. There's a few other Rebecca Yarros books that I have finished. I'm working my way through her whole catalog, but she said a few things about Onyx Storm, which is the 3rd book in the Empyrean series. It comes out in January. I have already pre-ordered my special edition with the painted spine. I'm so excited. It's, oh my God. So we were asked of 3 words to prepare us for Onyx Storm. And she said, "You're not ready." And I'm so worried because like this girl or this woman is so good at cliffhangers and like crazy plot twists and storylines and stuff like that it's just gonna be crazy.
It sounds like it's gonna be a good read regardless.
Yeah. So the first contemporary Rebecca Yarros book that I read that wasn't Fourth Wing. So I read Fourth Wing. I went straight on, read Iron Flame as soon as Iron Flame came out. And then I read her the first contemporary that I read from her is called In the Likely Event. And I started reading that on a flight from Gold Coast to Melbourne. It's 2 hours. And at the very start of the book, there's a plane crash.
Whoa.
And I was on the plane and I was like, this is not good. So
oh my God.
Crazy. And that book says Nate goes on to a career in the military while Izzy finds her way into politics. Despite a few chance encounters over the years, the timing never feels right. Then comes a high-stakes reunion in Afghanistan where Nate is tasked to protect Izzy's life and he'll do anything to keep her safe. So it's these 2 people, they meet because they're sitting next to each other on a plane and they're they're completely strangers on this plane sitting next to each other, and one is afraid of flying.
Right.
And they have the conversation of, oh, well, the first 5 minutes of the flight and the last 5 minutes are the most dangerous.
Oh my God.
So he sets an alarm on his watch for 5 minutes and they go, all right, we're gonna do this together. We'll both count this 5 minutes down, and the plane crashes.
What?
In the first 5 minutes.
Why would you do that?
In the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
So they have to survive this plane crash. They all survive. It's all fine.
Dude.
Like, it's fine. They make an emergency landing in water. And it's all fine. But then, there was like this chance encounter that they're next to each other for this plane crash. And then throughout the years, they just run into each other. But the timing's never right. It's one of those right person, wrong time situations.
Yes.
And it happens a few times. But that's a beautiful book.
Do they fall in love?
They do.
Aww, how did I get?
But like, that's just a romance. It's a
Yeah,
contemporary
exactly.
romance.
That's what I'm saying. That's what you're at.
And I think it was very interesting that Rebecca Yarros says in between each of her fantasy books, she will write a contemporary romance.
That's pretty cool.
To kind of ground herself again.
Which is a hell of a lot of writing, surely.
Oh, it is crazy. This woman, I swear she does not sleep.
Yeah.
Because she released Iron Flame last September, I think it was. And then she's got another book releasing next month that she wrote in between Iron Flame. And then she's just submitted She's doing the first round of edits for this new contemporary book, which is called Variations, which I'm very excited to read. The blurb that she told us the other night sounds great. And then she's just submitted the first draft of Onyx Storm because it releases in January, which is insane. And we're like, girl, you need to sleep. Because she was talking about, at one point, she was talking about how it was right before the deadline of Onyx Storm, and she was didn't sleep for like 48 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just like, authors are just on a whole new level.
Yeah.
I swear.
This the whole forum was really cool. Like they come in and sit down. They had all these interviews, and everyone got to submit their own questions. And I think some of the questions were fantastic.
I was sad that there was only 15 minutes of question time at the end.
They stretched that out a bit though.
No, they did, but they
out.
still only answered like 3 or 4 questions.
Yeah,
from the audience.
It felt like that, but some of the questions were like she was also making up, and she had some good ones that she made up as well.
Yeah,
the interviewee.
Well, the interviewer
Interviewee
is also an author.
I'm so tired. Yes.
Yeah, we're recording this quite late at night. So the interviewer was also an author. Let me get her name's Lynette Noni, maybe.
Yeah.
It was her name, and I'm interested to read some of her books as well because it seems very interesting.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty cool though that where's her name?
I think
it is Lynette Noni.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty cool that I shared a cute little thing on my Instagram story of us at the event, and after the event, Rebecca Yarros liked it.
You guys are basically like best friends now.
We are best friends.
I can't wait for you to like go to her house and have.
I wish we
breakfast.
could have our wedding again so we could invite her.
Oh, we definitely will next time. What?
We're not having another wedding.
That's what I'm saying. What?
Jeez, maybe our vow renewal in like 15 years.
She can be invited.
She can be invited. We'll invite
She's
her.
actually coming to the honeymoon.
Oh, is she?
We'll have a book all. Come to the honeymoon.
Send her an invite. Hey,
Yes.
you want to come on a Disney cruise with
Hey,
us?
Rebecca Yarros, if you're keen, come to our honeymoon.
Also, if you want to like
It'd be
send
a
me an
great
advance
vacation.
read a copy of Onyx Storm, I'm all ears. Happy to read before and give you feedback. Thank you.
Boys, reading is not just for the ladies.
No.
It is fantastic to read books. I got a book this week.
Your book is like not a book.
Yeah, but guess who read it? You did.
I know.
I didn't read any of it. You read it to me.
So Jay bought a book of poems
It's poems.
by a comedian.
Yes.
And apparently I got home and while he was cooking dinner, I was just reading them because I thought they were interesting. I was like, oh, they're funny, sure.
They're quite funny.
And apparently the way that I was reading them out loud is exactly how the comedian would do it.
Yes.
So then that was just my job, was to read them all out loud.
Yeah. So the book was Marlon Brando 9/11 by James Donald Forbes McCann, and I kid you not, like I need to, because you read it out the exact same way it's meant to be.
So you're welcome.
What's the? He's not an athlete. He's an artist. What's that?
No.
What's the?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Ron Weasley. When he talks about Victor Krum. He's more than a Quidditch player. He's an artist. Oh, dude, I'm gonna mess that up so bad.
I don't
so
know
tired.
what quote you're even talking about.
When they're in the giant tent that's actually really tiny, and Fred and George are like picking on him.
Must be a movie.
He's more than a something. He's an artist. Yeah, it's a movie quote.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. We're talking books, and Ash is in book mode. I
I'm
forgot.
in book mode.
You're like book mode.
I haven't watched the movies in a very long time. Actually, it's probably due.
Yeah, we're probably due for that
one of those.
rewatch.
But yeah, so very intrigued. I have consumed Fourth Wing 3 times. I've read it twice and listened to it once in the audiobook. And then I have consumed Iron Flame twice.
I tell you what, I've personally listened to the dramatized audiobook of Fourth Wing.
Yes.
And close to the first half of Iron Flame. But I think because the first half of Iron Flame dramatized audiobook has been released, and then the rest of it gets released later in the year. I think we might have talked about this
in
on
July.
an earlier podcast.
I think it comes next month.
Oh, never mind. My plan I was going to put out there to the world is I wouldn't be too disappointed if I had to listen to Fourth Wing again in between that coming out. But if it's only coming out next month, I probably haven't
Yeah.
got time for that.
And also, I've got a list of books that have dramatized adaptations that I need you to listen to. Thanks.
Oh, thanks.
I've already told you need to listen to A Court of Thorns and Roses
Yeah,
and
that one
that
too.
series. And they have dramatized audio. And at the end of the year, I'm pretty sure the first Throne of Glass audiobook dramatized edition comes out. And that is my favorite series of all time.
Yes.
And if you listen to a Court of Thorns and Roses audiobook, you'll understand the Bat Boys.
I was going to say, yeah, we talked
Bat
about the Bat
Boys.
Boys in the introduction.
The
What
Bat
was
Boys.
the Bat Boys? That's Throne of Glass.
The Bat Boys are from Throne of Glass.
Right.
No, they're from a Court of Thorns and Roses. Sorry.
Court of Thorns and Roses,
So
which is the
it's
same author.
Same
right?
author, different series.
Right. Okay.
So the author is Sarah J. Maas. She is an icon. So she has 3 different series. They're all in the same kind of universe though. So they all have the same lore of fae and fairies, and all the lore is exactly the same.
It's all fantasy.
Lore as in LORE, as in like the way things work in that universe. That's all the same between the 3. So there's the Throne of Glass series, which is completed. It's 8 books. And that's just a masterpiece in itself, especially when you think of the fact that she started writing Throne of Glass when she was 16 years old,
That's pretty cool.
which is insane. I read Throne of Glass and I go, how did a 16-year-old write this?
Right.
And it only got better. It's just insane. That's the book that I've cried to, like that series. Cried multiple times reading that because it was just so good. And I'm going to be sad if you do not have the same reactions.
I will not cry to the book.
I know
I'll
you
tell
won't
that now.
cry, but like I hope you get attached to the characters like I do.
I mean, even with Fourth Wing, even with Fourth Wing, there's some characters, and you relate to them. You go, oh, I hope I've got those qualities of that character or whatever.
Like, who's your favorite character in Fourth Wing?
Zayden.
Really?
Yes.
My favorite character is Riddick.
I like Zayden. He's very
He's funny. He's
strong.
clown.
I know that, but I don't like.
You don't like him
I
for the
don't
way other
look up
people
to
like him.
his. Yeah, I don't look up to his character. I don't go like, oh, you're. I just think he's a badass character.
He's pretty sassy.
Yeah.
Like his.
But I'm
quips-
definitely not a Zayden, is what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
I
not
told
saying
you
like,
this-
oh, I affiliate, because I just talked about affiliating with a character.
Yeah, I told you this the other day when we were sitting waiting for the panel to start.
I
said,
haven't
"You're
learned
definitely
enough
not a Zayden."
enough about who did you say I'm like?
I said, I just said you're like a golden retriever
Right.
in human form.
Which did you say that's a character?
Well, Riddick is kind of like that, but he's like the jokester.
Right.
I think.
Oh, so I'm not a jokester.
You know what? I
Oh,
actually.
so I'm
think-
not a jokester?
Hang
Oh.
on. Hang on. I would say that you are not a jokester.
We're still here. I'm awake.
So I would say, you haven't really had much to do with this character because you haven't read Iron Flame.
Yeah, no.
But
that's
I
what mean.
think I think you're really close to like Arik, so which
Oh,
is the
Arik.
prince in disguise.
Yes.
So Arik, I think he's like what he says. I sit there and I go, then Jay would say that.
Mm.
Like so.
Is he a good character though?
Yeah.
Oh,
He's pretty cool. So he's like a mix between like Riddick and Sawyer.
Cool.
If you know who Sawyer is. Can you remember Sawyer? He's the
Barely.
he's the other guy in like their trio
I can
of
barely.
friends. So yes, but back to Sarah J. Maas.
Oh, sorry. Yes,
Sorry, that was
I
a
derailed
real
that.
was a real quick sidestep. There's Throne of Glass, which is a completed series, 8 books. There is A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is unfinished at this point in time.
Okay.
So there is, but the universe in itself is unfinished. So there's 3 books, the first 3 books in A Court of Thorns and Roses, they focus on the main character, Feyre. And then 3.5 is a novella, so it doesn't really count as like a full book. It's kind of like a holiday episode. It literally is over like their winter solstice, which is Christmas for them.
Right.
It's literally a holiday episode. It's half a book for a holiday episode. But that is the shift between Feyre being the main character and her sister Nesta being the main character.
Right.
Because then number 4 is her book.
Yes.
So technically there's some people say it's 5, some people say it's 4. It's definitely 4 because the novella is 3.5. So everyone's hoping that she has said that ACOTAR is not finished.
Right.
And everyone's
ACOTAR
waiting.
being A Court of Thorns and Roses.
Yes. So number 5 should come out hopefully very soon Oh my goodness. And then she has the Crescent City series, which only has 3 books so far, not finished. I have not read them yet. They are so lore heavy that you have to be on to read them. You have to be switched on.
I would like to, if Sarah J. Maas ever had a Q&A, I'd like to even go to that. Because I would
have fun. You would be fighting for your life to get a ticket to that.
Oh yeah, like very popular or whatever. But I would just like to hear why, like how hard is it to write? Like, so you know all the lore to the both different series or whatever.
Yeah.
How hard is it to switch between writing a book for this one and then writing a book for this one?
Yeah, so that's very interesting because they all happen. So apparently they're the same universe, but they happen in different timelines.
Yeah.
So like there's so many theories out there, but Crescent City is like present day, but in the lore. So it's like in a city with like technology and stuff, but it still has the lore of like fae and fairies and the hierarchies and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
So whereas the other ones are completely separated.
Yes.
Like whole different ball game.
I think I know you want me to read it so bad. And I will listen to it.
That's what
with
I'm saying.
my whole intent.
Yes.
But I feel like I'm still going to like Fourth Wing more, and the boys can relate to this. There's a reason boys like Goblet of Fire, and I know you say it's like the worst movie, only because it doesn't match the book. But there's a reason.
100%.
Like it was, yeah.
It's because the director deliberately didn't read the book.
Yeah, but even the book, like the book is still my favorite, and I think it's the game aspect in competition, and I think the reason I like
Is that why
Fourth
you like
Wing
Hunger Games as well?
and Fourth Wing, because Fourth Wing is what did they say? Hunger Games meets 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah. Which
Only because I don't get that. But on the back of the book, it says that. There is a little bit of like smuttiness,
but it's not
very tame.
Not 50 Shades.
It's very tame.
I think it's meant to be like morally grey character.
And it's very like sprinkled in. There's not.
No, I
like
don't think it's the
3,
smut
4.
J. I think it's the morally grey
tension.
lead.
It's the
it's the morally grey lead of Zayden versus Mr. Grey.
I don't get
They're
it.
the same kind of. They're, as Rebecca was saying in her panel, she was saying that she made Zayden as a true morally grey character.
Morally grey.
Yeah, morally grey. So they're
Is
not
that
like
the guy?
they're not like fully bad and then fully white.
Oh right, morally. Yeah. Morally.
Yeah, moral. Like your morals.
I'm dead in the head.
Yeah. So
Yeah. No,
like,
I know what you mean. Yeah.
So
He's
Mr. Grey in 50 Shades is a fully morally grey character.
Because he blurs the line between ethically sane
and Zayden's the same.
and
So I
not.
think that's where the comparison is.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, so
But I think that's what I mean. Like, but I think that's why I like that so much, is because you do get that competition aspect, and they're all fighting for the chance to become the writers and whatever. And yeah.
So can I just say that the first Throne of Glass is all based on a competition?
All right, good.
A King's
so
competition.
I will like it.
And
No, I'm not saying I won't like it, but
so
it'll be good.
just a basic kind of rundown, kind of spoiler free. Just a big overview of Throne of Glass is the first Throne of Glass. There's a big King's competition for the King's champion. It's kind of common knowledge. You can read that on the blurb. But it kind of is all arcing towards a war. So there's always a war going on, and it's like the build up from like the tensions brewing all the way until the end of the war in the last book.
Gotcha.
So you'll still get a lot of that aspect of like strategy and all that kind of stuff, and the ranks and all that kind of stuff. And then even the same with ACOTAR. The first book is the main character has to go through these trials, and everyone has to watch kind of them go through these trials and stuff in a new system. And then it's the same kind of thing of there's a big bad that they have to beat, and there's a war in that.
Yeah.
Like one of the books is literally called A Court of War and Ruin.
Oh, cool.
So
sick. That's gonna be ruinous and warish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a Court of Thorns and Roses, a Court of Mist and Fury. Sorry, it's not War and Ruin. It's a Court of Wings and Ruin.
Ah. Bad boys.
And then the last one is A Court of Silver Flames, which is Nesta's book. But
Yes.
so yes, it's very intriguing. And I think anyone should read them. I would recommend reading Throne of Glass, then Akatar, then Crescent City.
Okay. There
That's
we go.
That's,
Well, you've heard
that's
it.
what I would say.
You heard it here first.
Yes.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to talk books, I am all ears. Currently, I just talk to my best friend about it, and we constantly talk about it.
Yep.
Happy to talk to anyone about it.
If anyone wants to jump
If
on the podcast,
anyone
even,
wants to,
talk,
oh my
talk about
goodness.
books.
If anyone wants to jump on the podcast and talk about books, I would die.
So far, we should have called this the Books and Bikes.
Books and Bikes.
Tune in next episode when we call it the Books and Bikes podcast
BB.
and rebrand. No.
The story of books and bikes.
Yes.
But yeah, so I could talk about books all day.
Oh, for sure.
But we've got some fun stuff coming up.
Yeah, and we still have to talk about music. We haven't had a music episode.
Yeah, I literally have a degree in music, and I haven't even talked
Yeah,
about
and I'm
music
wearing
yet.
a T-shirt of one of my favorite bands, and
I
don't.
got you.
And you got it for me, and I don't wear band T-shirts.
Yeah. So
I know
Up
it just looks like
next-
I'm wearing a dirty T-shirt for those that are watching
It's not
the video.
dirty,
but
it's a pattern.
It's just how it is.
So in the next couple of weeks, we'll talk about music. If anyone has any specific things they want us to talk about, please let us know. But next week, I think we're going to have some more guests on the podcast.
Yeah, hopefully some more guests because we got some folks staying with us.
Yeah, so the uploads might be a little bit chaotic in the next couple of weeks purely because for the next 3 weeks, we have family staying with us and visiting, which is going to be so much fun. But also, I don't know how much we'd be able to record. I know we'll definitely be able to get one out with our friends and Jay's brother and my best friend. We'll get an episode filmed with them. Hopefully they'll be down for it, which will be really fun. And it will be chaotic. There will be 4 of us and
2 microphones.
2 microphones, but
Yeah,
also
we can set up a third. I got a third,
but also like 4 chaotic personalities in one space.
Yeah.
So it'll be very fun.
I'll just have to set them up as room mics. Wouldn't that be cool? We just phase it
Yeah,
out.
true.
And,
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
And then
It'll probably sound like shit. Sorry, guys. I won't actually do that.
no, we won't do that. And then so hopefully we still get one out a week, but we'll have to keep you posted with that.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Yeah, super cool.
Thanks
Super
for
keen.
tuning in because we love doing this.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's been so fun.
Yeah, and for us, it's filled in that hole of radio that we missed, I think.
100%.
Because we used to be on the radio, and then we moved. Oh, well, we stopped our show way before we moved. But
Yeah.
but we just kind of fell out of that. And yeah, it's super fun. I like that we can just put our phones down and
Yeah, I like
listen.
it. And
we
talk
didn't
about
even do, you know
topics.
what we didn't do?
What?
We're going to switch this one up because we never did it. What's your good versus bad for the week?
I kind of told you already.
You kind of told me.
Yeah, my good versus bad is kind of the same thing.
All right, cool.
Is like,
Do you want to actually lay it out?
oh yeah, sure. So my good versus bad is kind of good and bad at the same time. I have been absolutely grinding for the last month
Mm-hmm.
and working in a butt ton to then have some time in the next couple of weeks to enjoy having family. And I'm so excited that we're having so many people come up and visit us back to back to back. And that's so excited. I'm so excited to fill my cup with their love and their happiness and being around them and the family and everything because we kind of really do miss that. But I'm also already so exhausted from starting a new job and working my other jobs at the same time. And then also we're not going to stop for the next 3 weeks. So like I'm simultaneously, everyone's been asking, oh my God, are you so excited for them to come? And I'm like, yes, I'm so excited. And when they're here, I am going to be so excited and I'm not even going to think about how tired I am. But right now I am almost dreading how tired I'm going and how chaotic the next couple of weeks are going to be. And that's not being ungrateful. That's me purely being, holy crap, we are not going to stop for the next 3 weeks. This is going to be chaos. Like I think the last people leave on the 18th of July. From the 18th of July until the 1st of August, do not talk to me.
Yeah.
We will be in conservation mode of like recuperating our energy.
Yeah.
That's my good versus bad.
That's very good.
Like I'm so excited and I know it's going to be like the best time.
Yeah, it's very exciting.
And it's going to be so much fun and we're going to be doing so much cool stuff. But also I'm like, when are we going to sleep in all of that?
It's going to be like, it's like you're already accepting the consequence that you're going to be so wrecked,
Yeah, exactly.
so drained socially or whatever for a few weeks.
Yeah.
But having family up for the first time in a
so
long
worth
time
it.
is going to be so fun. For me, I'm going to switch mine up. I'm going to say my bad first. The Jeep's been a bit bruised this week.
No, poor Jeep.
She didn't get in an accident.
Does she have a name yet?
The Jeep. No, that's it.
That's the Jeep.
The Jeep. No.
Because I have a Peugeot and it's called Peggy.
Peggy the Peugeot.
Gemma?
Jemima?
Jemima?
No.
Jemima the Jeep?
I don't find the name gross. I'm just trying to think.
Jemima
She
the
doesn't
Jeep?
look like a Jemima. I don't know. I don't know, but anyway, she's been a bit rude. If you have a name for us, throw it in the
Oh
comments.
my God, please, name the Jeep.
I know there's a lot of car dudes that
It
watch
should be
this.
Ducky.
Ducky?
Ducky the Jeep. Because of the ducks.
See, I've always wanted to, but with the ducks, I've always wanted to call it the Quack Addict. Because, she's got
That's
a few.
terrible.
She's a bit rough around the edges.
No, well, it's a work in progress.
Work in progress.
We'll
The
get to
Quack
it.
Addict is not yet fully locked in. Anyway, we're going to lock that in on a later episode. But for now, I'm going to go to my good and say, I think that the week's been really good. Work's been really busy, which is in a good way. There's heaps of work to be done, and it's always good fun. And I have a really fun job, and I love it. And all the people there are really cool, and they listen to the podcast. Thanks for listening to the podcast, friends. Are you guys fans? I don't know.
Not fans, listeners.
No. All right, fans. And I don't know. I've just been having a really good week, and I got back into starting to do some coding. It's that time of year. I want to do some more coding, and we have some worksheet stuff on Excel that I want to do. And there's so much cool stuff
I
happening.
don't think you would find that really interesting.
What?
I was talking about Excel because I have to make a lot of things for work in Excel and Google Sheets and stuff.
And
I was telling Jay about it the other day, and he's like, "Oh my God, can I work on it with you?"
Yes.
And I'm like, "If you want, I'm getting paid to, but if you want to, sure."
I was literally, before we were on the podcast, Ashley only just got home from work, and then we set up the podcast. I didn't have the podcast set up because I was coding on Excel.
Yeah.
With VBAs.
I walked in the door, and just because we talked about recording the podcast, and I walked in the door, and I walked into the room, and I was like, "So are we podcasting or what?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I totally forgot. I was so excited about doing this thing."
Yeah.
Okay.
And now coding has totally changed the way it works because ChatGPT just not ruins it, but it's the learning aspect of it is oh cool, you watch some video for an hour. Oh cool, all right, I'll replicate that, and then you learn your own things and you go, oh, that's really cool. Oh, but I don't know how to do this. I'll chuck it in ChatGPT and see if it knows. Blah, 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 blah. And then it just does your code times 2,000. Anyway, weird experience. But
okay, cool.
That's a bad part of that. Good. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week.
That's us.
Let us know if you have anything to do, and you want to chat, and you have any topics or queries or comments or concerns. If you want to choose the color of our background, you can do that.
Yeah, feel free to comment a good color.
Yeah. And also this week, I'm going to set up the Instagram account, and it'll be snippets of the shows before they're released, and just daily or not daily, but updates of the podcast, things that we talk about will be put up there, being oh, if we talked about it from this episode, go and find it on the Instagram or whatever. So that should be up and running this week or next week, hopefully.
Did you see, weird side note, did you see I put up a short on our YouTube channel?
No, I didn't, but I have.
I made one of just to see, because I see shorts everyone sees shorts all the time.
Yeah, they're pushing shorts.
So I was oh, I'll try and make us one. I made it. It actually turned out really cool. You'll really enjoy it.
Yeah, so that's what we need to put on the Instagram.
Right, okay,
But we can talk about this later.
Anyway.
All right, bye.
Yeah, anyway, have fun. Have a great week. Bye.